Hey y'all, this is Allison hanging out in my space to craft, and I think this is the last of my page kits that I had prepped, and so there are 3 photos, one 4x6 and 2 3x4s of Isla Cozumel. This is the second page that I have of Cozumel. So I have this Doodle Bug Seaside Summer. I don't really have a lot of full papers left that I wanted to use. This one is a full page, but it's got really cute tags on the back, so I don't want to use that, or cut aparts. So I pulled a white piece of paper and included that with this. This I think is too busy to be a background. I have this, but it's not a full page. So what I think I'm going to do, I haven't done this in a while. I may find something to frame this and then do some cascading circles down the page. I think that's my plan. I have puffy stickers, I have ephemera from the pack, I have alpha from the pack, I have a sticker sheet from the back, I have some ribbon, so that might be cute, tied across the top or bottom. I've added some glitter paper. I have a few strips. If I'm going to really do cascading circles, which I think I am, I probably wouldn't be able to use these unless I add them as a strip across the bottom, which is I think what I'm gonna do, maybe as a base for the title, and put the title down here at the bottom. So I think that's my plan. Let me draw this out for you. I would do some big circles and some little circles, a little, I think maybe a little frame. Maybe I don't do the frame. I don't really have, the problem is this would probably make a great frame, but you would sacrifice so many cut aparts if you did that. So I'm not gonna do that. So no frame, and then just cascading circles. They're not going to look like that, but cascading circles, and then a few random ones sitting out, and then a little border across the bottom to tie things down. Title here. And then there'll be embellishments and tuckies and stuff. Not everything will be circles because I have some cute tuckies, cut aparts to use to tuck in there as well. So this will be like some paper and some ribbon there, and maybe a little bow there. All right, that's sort of my sketchy, messy plan. Well, I have kept everything except the gluing down and inking in the video, but I've sped it up faster than I normally do. So it's about 4 times. I usually do about 3.5. But that way you can see me in all my hemming and hawing around, trying to decide what I'm going to sacrifice, which cut aparts I'm going to sacrifice, and using the Creative Memories circle cutting system, which I've gone off to retrieve. And I'm going to try and optimize, especially some of these smaller scraps. So the red blade cuts closest to the channel. So if it's on the inside, it's the biggest you can make, and if it's on the outside, it's the smallest you can make, which is kind of the way it gives you a lot of different sizes, and there are 3 different blades. So if you haven't used this system before, I really like it still, though I messed up there and didn't apply enough pressure to get it cut out, but that's not a big deal. At this point, I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in a circle. It ends up not working out, and so I just fussy cut the flamingo out in the end. I think it's because it was on white paper, it just wasn't looking right. Here I'm cutting one giant. This is my biggest circle that I make, and it's about 6 inches across. And then I do a couple of smaller ones, just to have a variety of sizes. And I'm going to use both sides of this paper. That's why I'm cutting so many. So I'm going to use the green and the floral. And now let's get some small ones out of this little scrap. I like these wordy bits. I start out with only one, but I do end up coming and making a second circle. I do not use the other side for this one, but I will come back and make another circle. So you can see, this is also a good way to make use of really busy papers, if you will. You could use fewer of them, spread them out more to make, and intersperse them with more tone-on-tone papers. Like I have the green, which is a tone-on-tone. There's a pink tone-on-tone. And so I find that those, maybe like that one, those help tone down the busier papers. But I don't mind this page being busy, so it is a very busy page. And I'm okay with that. Here's where I'm starting to struggle with the flamingo, but we're going to keep working with it. I do end up needing another one of those palm tree circles. And I'm trying to, you know, add the small ones. It's a big difference between the sizes. I probably could have used a couple that were a little bit bigger than the smallest. But I'm okay with the way it came out. What I end up doing with the flowers, because I have that blank space in the middle that I'm struggling with, and I don't want to use up a whole circle of pretty paper that's going to be mostly underneath the pictures. So I end up putting the pictures on a piece of shimmery yellow paper, and then I don't have to worry about it. And then I can spread my circles out a little bit better and make better use of them. So the end product looks a little bit different than this because I'm able to stretch those circles out by covering the center with a block. So here's where I'm like, okay, I only have one of those wordy things. I probably need a second, but I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And I wanted a little bit more, I think, of that pink. And you can see there's not much of it showing right now. So I'm going to look on here and see which other cut apart I want to sacrifice, and I'm trying to really position things so that I don't lose other things unintentionally. That's the other palm tree paper. I'm going to use 2 of these. You don't see me cut it, but I do end up cutting those apart and then putting a piece, I'll put a piece of ribbon between them. And on some of these, you know, there's a flat edge or the wrong color, and that's easy to hide when you're tucking circles. So I'm just trying to make sure that there's, you know, like red separated. I probably could have used 3 of those red circles, but I didn't want to lose that. I probably could have cut that one piece that's hanging down in half and tucked another one somewhere else, but I didn't do it. And now I found a few of these little sentiments, if you will, that fit the page. And I thought, well, I'm going to get 3 of those to add to the page. I'll try and make each one look a little bit different by bannering them or making them a little bit shorter. But they're cute. Just trimming them up. I do also ink all of the circles using Vintage Photo, which is my lighter brown rather than walnut stain. But that also helps create some depth between the circles, I think, as well. And here I'm going to fussy cut this flamingo because I did not like the way he was working on the page. And he's going to work much better as a piece of ephemera instead of a circle. I use the spring scissors, and they have a pretty sharp point. I find they're really handy for this detailed kind of cutting work. I can hold them at a good angle, I can see what I'm doing, and then I just move the paper. So now I think I'm going to, before I start on stickers, I am going to look through the ephemera. I'm not going to put it on yet. I'm just going to sort through it and see what I think might work. I do end up pulling some leaves, which I don't use, some flowers. I find another, I like this for a cut apart better, and it brings in another flamingo. So I'm just looking through to see what might work. I also like the palm tree. So I'm just auditioning things. I moved the living the life or something like that. I moved that to the top because it was pretty big font and I didn't want it to compete with the title too much. So I thought that by moving that higher, it would be easier. So here I'm just looking at it and deciding, and I'm going to go off and ink everything and tape everything down. Here I'm like, do I want to just use that as the title? Is that just my title? No, I don't like it. So switch it back, and I'm going to say perfect day. I'm just checking to see if I have all the letters. And I'm just going to set them down. I'm not sticking them down at this point because I'm not exactly sure where they're going to sit. And I want to make sure that I leave space for them. And I don't really want them going on top of the wordy circle. So I've gone off, I've stuck everything down, inked everything. And now I'm ready to put the ribbon down at the bottom, and you can see I separated those two stripes, and that leaves me the perfect shelf for the title. I use red line tape for ribbon usually, and that seems to work well. So now I'm adding another, this is a sticker, a palm tree, and the little flowers that I found. So I'm going to make a few little clusters around the page. So one at the top left bottom left and bottom right, or really side right. It's a pretty long cluster that I create there. I also found this lighthouse. We did visit a lighthouse. Little camera. So just looking for some stickers to add to each area. And then puffy stickers are next. And I do find 3 or 4 puffy stickers for each area. This was a fun page. I like that it's busy. It's bright and sunny, just like the day was. So I'm pretty pleased with it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and come back for more content. Subscribe to my channel and ask for notifications. I do try to post 5 or 6 times a week, depending on my travel schedule. And if I can get them ahead, they'll be premiered. I'd make some cute cards after this page with some of these scraps, and I've got lots more photos that I need to get organized and scrapbook. Thanks a lot, you guys. Here's some close-ups. Let's take a look at the page. Living the life. This is paradise. Sunshine and happiness and the perfect day. Thanks a lot, y'all. I'm just going to straighten out some of these letters that looked a little crooked. And she's done. Thanks.